This is a level line. These are two guidelines and they are 1 inch apart from the level line. This is a simple rod and here comes the pivot. When the pivot is positioned close to the end, a small movement on the back translates into big movement in the front. On the other hand, when the pivot is closer to the front, big movement in the back are translated into a small movement in the front.
Yet, I don't know how many times I've seen people with a bipod mounted. I will show you how easy it is to build one of these bipod extensions.
These are the materials you will need for this build. Piece of 30mm tube, carbon fiber, 30mm ring, and another 30mm ring but it has a Picatinny. Those are all the materials we are gonna use on this build, and just the tools that we're gonna use for cutting the carbon fiber tube. I will use painter tape and a hand saw. I mean, if you had any other way to cut the carbon fiber, that's fine. I'm just gonna go and show you how I do it. The first step in the process will be cutting the carbon fiber tube 6.5 inches. Now we just have to cut the carbon fiber using the marks that we did. So go easy. I'm not using a lot of pressure. At the very end, go very slow, do not apply any pressure. I see some imperfections in the cut, but it is not that bad, so I will just do a slight sanding on this end. I think it's ready for the next step. Right, let's add the rings. The bipod extension was not my own idea. I saw a picture from Mr. Turbo on Instagram and I like it a lot. I think I sent me a message. Mr. Turbo shipped his own bipod extension to me. Alright, now it's time to mount the ring. This part can be tricky depending on how you decide to mount it. The challenge here is to keep these rings level. Remember, you don't want your rifle to be canted. So one little trick is I use this armor glue. So I'm not looking into gluing the rings into the carbon fiber tube. What I'm really looking here is to keep this ring in place, and you will see how I do this. So I'm gonna use the vise to keep the same plane between the two rings. So I will take the first ring. I'm gonna use the one with the Picatinny and then I will position that ring here. As you can see here, there is some movement. It can go on the side, but the ring should stay there with the glue. And then I will go all the way forward. I will put the back ring on the back. I will press it. And now I know that they're gonna stay there. Now what I do, in order to level, is I lose my vise and then I let the tube to rest, and then I'm making sure now that the rings, like let me show you, like for example, if I'm off center, like this ring is completely off from that one, I will catch it up here. So I will move it, and with the glue in place I just make sure that they are gonna be there flat. Now I have the rings completely level. Now the next step will be to put the other side of the rings. So let's go ahead and do that. So for this step, I just wanna point that I will use Loctite. This is a blue Loctite, and yeah, it's gonna be just that, screwing the other side of the ring, and I will do that off camera. And this is the end result after we mount the rings. So one thing to notice is I went with the flush mount on both sides, right? This is the back. Of course, here you want to flush, but one interesting modification on this bipod extension may be to leave this end of the tube a little bit longer, so when you mount your bipod and you are shooting, you had a platform here so you can mount your FX radar. This is going to my RTI Priest. I don't need to do that, so I leave it flush like this. And the bipod extension came really light, so I just want to show you how much it weighed. 4.6 ounces, very lightweight, and this is something that I like to keep the weight down. So the only thing that we have pending is to mount it in the rifle.